When visitors come to China, one of the first things that they notice is the borders are quite strict and they're all difficult to get into. Unless you've got the right paperwork, you're not getting in. And when they do get in, most, if not all, the people say they like China. They like its infrastructure, the shopping facilities, the food, the people, its culture, and the freedom and the safety. Thus, when they use these phrases, they're quite shocked. Some of them even do YouTubing, such as myself and others, and we advertise this shock to the rest of the world, hoping that they would listen, that we were lied to by the mainstream media. And sometimes on social media too. Some YouTubers have also learnt that by lying, you can make more money. And there are a couple of YouTubers that do that who have been to China for 10 or 12 years, whatever. They've gone back to America and discovered they can make more money by following the mainstream media and telling you a load of rubbish. But there you go, that's why people do it, for money. Although I've spent many years in this city, I have been away and now I've come back and I'm starting to meet up with the new foreigners that have been here for some time and settled down. They seem a wonderful bunch of people, really, really do. Reasonably new to China, reasonably new to this city. And it's quite interesting listening to their stories. There is a but and a however. And I raise this point because one of those people just blurted out that Trump should have been killed and it was a bad shot, and that person was very upset that he didn't die. Deep down inside, I was in a little bit of shock that someone could come out with such profanity and cruelty towards another person. I think the point I'm making, and I tried to explain this to that person, was if they had an apartment with no door, would they feel safe? Obviously, they wouldn't want an apartment with no door, and that's what a country is with no borders. Ultimately, my point is, out of 5 people I met, 2 strongly support the left, or left wing, let's say. Who they support is irrelevant. It's none of my business, none of my concern. But what I don't understand is how you can say your own country is rubbish. They should let all the immigrants come in to your country, and then you leave your country for the security and safety of another. So is this typical of most people who support the left? To be honest, I'm not really sure what the left or right is. It seems like we're put in a box and you are that, like it or lump it. And then I realised, of course, diversity is in a box. Whites are in a box, Indians are in a box, Asians are in a box, blacks are in a box. And who puts you in that box? Well, the people who are in control. The people who want to control you, me, all of us. And we let them. So we're put into a box. Everyone wants to gain some wealth in this world. That's human nature. We want a better life. We want to better ourselves. We want our kids to grow up with a better life than we had. Some people don't just want wealth, they want power. The more money you have, the more power you can buy. So money can buy power, but power can steal money. What people with power don't like is a disruption. And that disruption in today's world is someone like Donald Trump. In short, Donald Trump has made himself a lot of enemies, powerful enemies all around the world, and lots of them. So because he's made lots of enemies, it is really to no one's surprise that someone's going to take a pop at him. Someone will try to assassinate the guy. That's life, that's a part of life, even in the 21st century. Maybe we're surprised on how it happened. We shouldn't even be surprised as to the reason why. There are a number of news outlets that keep saying, oh, what was his reason? The reason's quite obvious. His brain's been tarnished for the last couple of years, probably 50% of this chap's life. So as the details emerge, we now know that Thomas Crooks had a rangefinder. He was reported by police and then let go. And for about 60 minutes, he was free to go where he likes. He was allowed to clamber onto the roof. Although seen by many members of the public who were raising their voice and shouting to police, it reminded me a bit like January the 6th when some police officers were saying, "Come in." And we later discovered that almost 200 of those protesters were members of the FBI. And ironically enough, members of the same FBI are the ones that will be doing the investigation. The same investigations that they carried out in Mar-a-Lago, which we now know were traps of photographs to insinuate he had secret documents. Personally, I think if Thomas Crooks' phone was checked by another department or even by X, maybe someone else has got access to the phone calls, I would not be surprised if he was sent messages a year ago or even 2 years ago. This will happen in the future and just damage the kid's mind, and so that it seems like a Republican has killed or executed a Republican leader. There you go. My mind gets carried away with all this stuff because of the mainstream media has made me think like this, and also because the Democratic Party and Biden's rhetoric over the years have made me think this way. I can't help it. I just don't trust them. Don't believe them and don't trust them. But then again, I even put the BBC in the same category. And we also have the head of the Secret Service who's going to do a thorough investigation on this, Kimberly Cheetle, who said at one point the roof was at such an angle that it was probably unsafe for those security special agents to stand on that roof. It's quite appalling that she would use such an excuse. Well, we know that excuse was just a lie. That was just to shut the media up at the time. Kimberly Cheetle worked for Dick Cheney and his daughter, Liz Cheney, for 8 years. She was appointed by Joe Biden's wife to be the head of the Secret Service. Wow. So the woman in charge of the Secret Service was appointed by your enemy who want you. Coincidence? Who knows? I don't know why everyone's being so soft on them. It's not a coincidence. None of it's a coincidence. They want an accident to happen. Anyway, so with all that, although we still have another 4 or 5 months, November, till Donald Trump probably will become president, I think all those people in the government, in their own governments around the world, and those in China ought to prepare themselves for that inevitable situation if Donald Trump is not before the next election. I suspect he will become president. I don't think China has to fear Donald Trump as much as they think they do by becoming president. In many ways, I believe Joe Biden is much worse for the economy around the world and for China, because Biden can't be trusted. He can be bought. His son is probably already bought. Maybe Joe Biden has already been bought, but it certainly seems something is quite fishy. His mental status is fading fast. There we go. Right, with that, thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. This is a very rare kind of video. I don't intend to do many political ones or opinionated ones. Let's say I do want to stick to videos that are related to purely China and the good things about it. But every now and then something happens in the West. You just can't help it. Mother, I shall apologise now. You told me to stay well clear of politics. I couldn't help it. Just life, eh? Yeah. There we go. Take care. All the very best. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.